Hola, soy yo Vicky otra vez. Y en el video de hoy, in today's video, we're going to look at the second part of a test, the GCSE test. So you can check your level to see if you could pass a GCSE or where you stand as far as GCSEs are concerned, you know, to give you an idea of your level. In the first video, we looked at articles. I think a lot of you, from the reaction that I got, and thank you for everybody who did react, you found that useful in sort of determining your level, giving you an idea of your level. So I'm going to carry on. I'm going to do the complete test video by video because it's quite long, so it's perhaps too much to put in one video. In today's video, we're going to look at adjectives and adverbs. Now, adjectives. Oh, another thing I just wanted to say that I will point them out each time we come to one in the video. But there are anything you're not sure of, you can search on my channel, for example, adjectives or adverbs, and videos will come up. Most of these I'll try and point out as I go along, where there will be an explanatory video. So there's always something, if there's something you're not sure of, obviously, I mean, the things that you're sure of, you don't need to look at again. But someone comes up and think, oh no, I don't know that. Have a look at the video. Okay, so we're going to do what we did with the other one. If you're coming to this video, if this is the first one you've seen for testing your GCSE level, what I'm going to do is hold up a sentence in English. You need a pen and paper so that you can write it down. And then really what you need to do is pause the video while you translate it. Try and translate it without looking, but obviously there may be some words that you need to look up. And then restart the video, and then I will hold up the answer. Okay, so I'm doing it one by one. I think that works better than reading out all the English and then at the end going through all the Spanish. We do it poco a poco. If you've any other ideas on how a better way to do it, then please let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. Okay. Oh, and by the way, thank you to those who pointed out there was a mistake in the first video where I think I either said solicitor instead of doctor or doctor instead of solicitor. So that kept you all on your toes, and thank you to all of you that sent me a message about it. I'd like to say it's a deliberate mistake to make sure you're awake, but no, it wasn't. So there's bound to be one in this one as well. Okay, so let's look at the first example in English, the first sentence for you to translate. So have you got your pen and paper handy? If not, you need to pause the video and go and get it. So, number one, the white chair and the green table. So this is the English sentence that you're expected to translate. And the things that come up in this test, this is a test specifically designed for people who study in GCSE. And I'll try and point out where I can the things that I think they're looking for and the reasons why they've used these particularly as examples. Okay, so we're going to look at the answer now to the white chair and the green table. And the answer is la silla blanca y la mesa verde. Now, I think why they've used this particular example is, of course, silla is a feminine noun, so it becomes blanca, whereas also is la mesa, the table, but verde is a colour that doesn't change for masculine or feminine. I think what you'll find in most of these test questions, there's quite a lot of the exceptions to the rules. So I suppose it's what they're expecting you to know, the exceptions that they're expecting you to know for you to pass your GCSE. Should you want, I mean, obviously this, you don't have to take a GCSE, but I think it gives you a yardstick. Okay, number two. Spanish, oh, and by the way, adjectives are describing words. So an adjective is anything that describes a noun. Spanish cooking, talkative people. So this, you may need to look up talkative. And that's just the stab in the dark. I would imagine it's not a word that people just know off pat. I think the rest of it perhaps you will know. But anyway, if you have to look something up, that's fine. Spanish cooking, talkative people. Okay, so you need to pause your video, translate the sentence, and start again when you've got your translation. And here is the answer. So, la cocina española, Spanish cooking, la gente habladora, talkative people. And I know 100% why this has been used as an example, because, well, cooking is la cocina, which is the same word as kitchen, of course. And also an oven, not an oven, but a cooker, if you like, a cooker, a hob. So cocina is all those things to do with cooking, and it's feminine. So, and we could guess that, couldn't we? Because we know that most, probably 99% of nouns that end in A are feminine, but of course there's always the 1% exception, of which is gente. This is a word that all my students get wrong on a regular basis, and from what I can understand, even Spanish people sometimes don't use this in the correct way. So it's la gente. Not only it's feminine, even though it doesn't end in A, but it's singular. The people is one thing. It's not plural. So it's la gente habladora, feminine, singular, talkative. That will definitely, if you ever did any exam that you did in Spanish, gente will come up, because it's just one of those old chestnuts that people always get wrong. Okay, so number 3, we have had a good day. We have had a good day. So that's going into a different tense, of course. Present perfect you need for that one as you're translating it. Okay, the answer. Oh, I've turned over more than one page, which is not a good idea. Okay, so we have had a good day. Now, our nosotros is optional because hemos is we have, tenido had, and the test here, I think that they're wanting you to see if you, to check that you're going to get right, is un buen día, because día, again, ends in an A, but it's actually masculine. So, nosotros hemos tenido un buen día. And note that when it comes in front of the noun, there is no O on the end of the adjective. That's the other thing they're testing you on. Vale, número 4. Now, the first book and the third table, these are ordinal numbers, they're called. There is a video on my channel that specialises, that explains ordinal numbers. So if you don't know your ordinal numbers, first, second, third, fifth, 15th, 16th, 20th, etc., you need perhaps to have a look at that so that you can learn how to say them. So the first book and the third table. Ordinal numbers have to match up with gender as well. That would be the reason why they're here in this test. So you will end up with el primer libro and la tercera mesa. So primer, again, because it comes in front of the noun, it's not el primero libro. We drop the O because it's going in front of the noun. El primer libro, and then mesa is feminine, so it's la tercera mesa. Vale? Okay, hope you've got that okay. If not, as I say, have a look at the video on ordinal numbers. If you Go into the search button on my channel. I was trying to say canal and channel in one. In my canal, if you look at the search button, you will find the video on ordinal numbers. Okay, number 5. My father was a great man. My father was a great man. Very true for most of us, probably, hopefully. Certainly my father was. So my father was a great man. And I hope you've translated it by now. And this is how we would say it. Mi padre era un gran hombre. Yeah, so great, not grande, because that's more big. So un hombre grande would be, he was a big man, I suppose. So era un gran hombre. Okay? And then number 6, numero 6, the English that you need to write down to translate. His former job was in an ancient building. His former job was in an ancient building. Okay. Remember to pause the video if you don't want to see the answer. And the answer is, la respuesta es, su trabajo anterior estaba en un edificio antiguo. Su trabajo anterior estaba en un edificio antiguo. And it's estaba rather than era because it's where it was, not what it was. If it was his previous job or his former job was good, that's characteristics, it would be era. But it's not, it's where it was. Okay, any queries that you have, please put me a message in comments here on the YouTube channel. That's the best place to put them, just for the simple reason that other people may be asking the same question. So your question that you've got may be just the question that they need the answer to. Okay, numero 7. The poor man asked for money. So the poor man asked for money, and this is poor in the sense of destitute, not in the sense of, oh, poor man, what a shame, though it would be a shame, of course. Okay, so la respuesta, the poor man asked for money. El hombre pobre pidió dinero. So pedir is to ask for. If you have preguntar, that's not correct. Preguntar is to ask a question. So it wouldn't be the verb that we would use in this context. El hombre pobre, so here we've got our adjective after the noun, which is where it normally goes. El hombre pobre pidió dinero. Okay, número 9. Each book is extremely expensive. Now, I just want to warn you here, don't try and translate extremely. Think about how we make a superlative in Spanish. A superlative, in other words, when you're saying something's really whatever, really big, really small, really expensive, etc. There's a way that we do it in Spanish that you'll find out in a minute. If you don't know already, maybe you know. So each book is extremely expensive. When we translate that into Spanish, number 9 in español, each is cada. So it will be cada libro es carísimo. Carísimo. That's how we make a superlative in Spanish. We add on ísimo or ísima, because it could be, if it was a house, be la casa es carísima, because it's feminine. Okay, so cada libro es carísimo. Sometimes there are slightly different ways you can say things. As I say, if there's anything you're not sure of and you think, well, I had this, why can't it be what I had? Maybe it can be, so let me know. Vale, número 10. The water in the sea was very cold. The water in the sea was very cold. Okay, so that's, eso es el inglés. Para traducir en español, y número 10 en español es: el agua en el mar estaba muy fría. And do you remember this came up in articles about water? Water is agua, and should be la agua, but because it's la agua, somewhere in the deep depths of time, they would have decided to make it a masculine article, but when we describe it, it still remains feminine, which is why it's fría, not frío. And we're using estar because it's not a permanent characteristic of the water that it was cold. It was cold on that day at that time, but sometimes maybe it's warm. Okay, so el agua en el mar estaba muy fría. And next we're going to look at adverbs. In this video, adverbials. So what I've done is I've put the adjectives and adverbs together in one video because otherwise it perhaps too short for each video and they would fit. So probably as I go along, that's what I'll do 2 subjects in each video, unless one of them is a very long test, when I'll do that separately on its own. There's quite a lot, so, but I'll just plod through them as I go along, and then at the end I'll put them all in a playlist. In other words, so when you just tap that playlist, GCSE practice or GCSE tests, they will just come on one after the other so you can follow them, because obviously you're going to try them now and it'd be a good idea if you don't get them all perfectly correctly, which is a lot to expect, but hey ho, I don't know, it's a good idea to maybe leave it a month or a couple of weeks and then do them again and see how much you can remember. That is the way to remember things in Spanish, especially if you're not in a position where you're speaking Spanish every day. You have to practice regularly to remember. If you want to remember, you have to repeat. That's sometimes you think, oh, that's a bit boring, but that's just the way it is if you're not in a position where you're actually using the language every day. Another thing is, don't forget, I do Zoom classes, so if you're interested in Zoom classes, let me know. Of course, I do classroom classes normally, not currently, but if you're local, but if you're far away, I don't know where you're watching from, Zoom classes work really well if you want to do a little 10-week course or whatever to boost, just give you a boost along the way, or a longer course just to have an hour a week maybe, where you, or an hour every fortnight. And the thing is, you can book in, you get a special offer for booking 30 classes. You don't have to take them consecutively. If you want to book 30 classes and take them over a year, that's fine. Okay, so adverbials. What are adverbs? Adverbs are words that describe verbs, of course. So it's how we do things. So a verb is what we do, and an adverb is how we do it. Do we do it quickly? Do we do it slowly? Do we do it well? Do we do it badly? Do we do it reluctantly? These are all adverbs. They describe a verb or the way we do something. So again, I'm going to be holding up the English. I will just have a little bit of water because I'm getting a little bit thirsty with all this talking. Okay, so number 1, número 1. 3 adverbios, 3 adverbs. Carefully, simply, and quietly. Okay, so they're for you to write down and to try. Personally, I wouldn't look, if I was doing this exercise, I would not look them up. I would have a go at doing them myself first. Then when I show you the answer, maybe you'll have it right, maybe you'll have it wrong. But I think unless you absolutely don't know the word for careful or simple or quiet, then really you will need to look it up. But if you've got any idea of those words, have a go at making the adverb. Okay, so what's the answer? Numero uno. Carefully look at the length of that word. Cuidadosamente. When you have a long word like that, split it into syllables. Say it slowly. Say it, repeat it slowly, and eventually it will get better. So, cuidadosamente. Cuidadosamente. Carefully. Most adverbs, as you can see from these three, end in mente in Spanish. Mente relates to, like in English, li, ly, and there are videos on these in the channel. So you just need to put in adverbs or adverbios and the videos will come up that explain to you about adverbs. Slowly, quickly, we use a lot li at the end of our adverbs a lot of the time, and the same in Spanish, they use mente, but not always, as you will see in the next one. But anyway, so cuidadosamente, sencillamente, silenciosamente. Okay, carefully, simply, silently. Número dos. This has got a pre-treat verb in it as well. He and a pronoun. He did it slowly and badly. Notice that in English we've got two lees there. Slowly and badly. He did it. Pre-treat. Okay. So you need to translate that. And this is what you should have. So the L is optional. You can either put in the L for he or not. As you can see, I forgot to put it in first because I didn't really need it, but I thought I'd best put it in because some of you may have put it in. So, L optional, lo hizo, it, he did. So remember pronouns, again, there's lots of videos in my channel on pronouns, position of pronouns. In English, we say he did it. In Spanish, you say it, he did. So, lo hizo lentamente y mal. So, notice that the lentamente fits in with the mente type idea that we add mente for adverbs in Spanish, but not with badly. It's just and bad. He did it slowly and bad. So that obviously is why this is in here for this test. They want you to be aware of that because it must be something that comes up in the exam. Lo hizo lentamente y mal. Okay, número tres. I am upstairs. He is downstairs. Now that's an interesting one, isn't it? You feel like it should be easy maybe, but is it easy? So vamos a ver. I am upstairs, he is downstairs. The English. El español. And it's almost, I think it's quite simple, but that might make it difficult, if that makes sense. So, yo estoy arriba, él está abajo. I am up, he is down. So we don't have to say stairs. Estoy arriba, está abajo. Okay, número cuatro. I am here, he is there. Okay, so I am here. These are adverbs of place. I nearly told you what the Spanish was then. I am here, he is there. Okay, vamos a ver. En español. So, what verb will you be using for the I am? Same as the other one because it's location. So, yo estoy aquí. Or just estoy aquí. Él está allí. He is there. ¿Vale? Okay, so número 5. I go there often when I have enough money. I go there often when I have enough money. So I go, what is it? What's the verb to go? Let's see if you've got the Spanish correct. Número 5 is voy allí. Again, you could say yo voy. A menudo cuando tengo suficiente o bastante dinero. Voy allí a menudo cuando tengo suficiente o bastante dinero. Okay, número 6. She did not come until 7. Then she ate a lot and drank a lot. So this is quite a complicated one. It might take you a little bit longer than the others have taken you. She did not come, pre-treat, to give you a clue, until 7. Then she ate a lot and drank a lot. And what you should have is probably a good idea to use the ella, because otherwise it could be he or she did not come. Ella no vino hasta las 7. Now then, I've picked out 3 words that could be then. Luego, después. Oh, I've missed an S out there. Luego, después. Después. Or entonces, you could use for then. So, ella no vino hasta las 7. Luego, después o entonces, comió mucho y bebió mucho. Okay? How are you doing so far? Okay, número 7. He has already arrived. He has already arrived. So we're changing tense there, it's not pre-treat. He has already arrived. Present perfect. Okay, and the answer in Spanish, número 7, ya ha llegado él. Or you could say él ya ha llegado. Personally, I don't tend to use the persons unless it's absolutely imprescindible, absolutely necessary, because I know these are just sentences taken out of fresh air, but thin air, I should say, but normally in a conversation it's evident who you're talking about. So, and if it's not evident, that's when you need to put in your person. Ya ha llegado. Okay, número 8. He is taller than him and better. Sorry. I must have got halfway through that and then perhaps the kettle boiled. I went off to make my coffee and then I forgot to add player. So, he is taller than him and a better player. He is taller than him and a better player. Y en español es el. Again, we don't need the L, and especially with this, actually, we don't need the L because it's alto. So it must be he, it can't be she. Él es más alto que él y mejor jugador. So again, it would be jugadora if it was a woman, so we don't need the L there. Él, so it says me saying the L, es más alto que él y mejor jugador. So notice that this L would be he and the other L, que él, is him. Okay, so the same word but they've got slightly different meaning. He and him. Okay, número 9. The main square is the most interesting place in the town. So, the main square is the most interesting place in the town. How would we say that in Spanish? It's present tense, so it's, I don't know, I nearly said easy, I shouldn't say easy, nothing's easy. Easier. Okay, so, número 9. La Plaza Mayor es el sitio o lugar más interesante del pueblo. La plaza mayor es el sitio o lugar más interesante del pueblo. Sí, ¿vale? Y número 10, the English. She is as tall as her mother. She is as tall as her mother. So that's a sentence you need to translate. You need to pause the video. You don't want to see the answer just yet. So, número 10. Again, ella, but we don't need it because it's alta, so it must be she. Es tan alta como su madre. So this tan como is as whatever as. We say in English, she is as tall as. In Spanish, it's tan como, okay? So, es tan alta como su madre. Número 11, I don't have as much money as my brother. So, how would we translate that? I don't have as much money as my brother. I wonder if you know how to say as much. This is how you would say it. Número 11. No tengo tanto dinero como mi hermano. So, as the tan como was as something as, tanto como is as much as. That's the difference, okay? No tengo tanto dinero como mi hermano. And número 12, which is a handy phrase if you're out and about trying to speak. Speak more slowly, please. Now, what tense is that? Speak more slowly, please. That's what you need to think about there. What's the tense? And, I've gone over 2 pages. I thought I hadn't done the answer. And the answer is, habla más despacio, por favor. And it is the imperative, the command mode. Habla. It's an easy tense. You just take the second person singular. Oh gosh, I've forgotten it. You take the first person singular, take off second person singular and take off the S. So it would be hablas, take off the S, is habla. Speak, command, okay? So, habla más despacio, por favor. How did you do? I hope you did well. In our next video for GCSE practice, if you like, or to see the GCSE test to see if your Spanish would be good enough to do a GCSE, whether you want to do one or not, just for your own satisfaction, or maybe you do want to do one. I think for me the reason that I started doing the video, which has proved popular, is because a lot of I think people are always unsure about how much Spanish they know, and they always think they don't know enough. But I know that a lot of my students, if they went in for the GCSE exam tomorrow, they would pass with flying colours. They just need a little bit of guidance towards these sort of irregular things that they expect you to know, and once they've been guided that way with these little things, they would be perfectly okay doing a GCSE in Spanish. And sometimes it's nice to have a qualification, even though you might have been studying Spanish for a long time and you know that you're doing well. It's nice to have it in writing sometimes. As I said in the first video, everyone's different. Some people love exams, other people hate exams, so whatever works for you. Okay, so thank you again for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you found the video useful. That is so helpful for me. A thumbs up, and if you've not subscribed, to subscribe. All those things really help with my channel. If you want to support it financially, though it's a muy poco dinero, you can buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description box. That's much appreciated, especially at the moment where it's difficult to do classes, etc. So it is difficult. Again, if you would like some Zoom classes, if you like any information about any classes, I do group Zoom classes as well, which are only €6 an hour. And of course, the books are available on the internet. All the details are in the description box. And one more thing before I let you go, if you haven't gone already, I am thinking about doing some different things on the channel, like maybe in Spanish, but maybe things about makeup, maybe a bit of true crime, maybe a little bit things that I think you might find interesting. Obviously, if you're a guy, maybe you won't find the makeup interesting. But yeah, I have quite a lot of ideas sometimes kicking around in my head, and I think, well, would people be interested in watching these videos? So what I might do is end up doing them anyway, and then just judging by the interest. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. So, gracias por mirar. Que tu Dios vaya contigo y te veo en el próximo video. Hasta luego.